Yeah, me and a lot of other people were so wrong about this fight. Just some quick thoughts about UFC Atlanta, which happened last night. But Kamaru Usman turns back the clock and puts on a dominant performance versus Joaquin Buckley to end Joaquin Buckley's, I think, 7-fight win streak. Kamaru Usman comes in there after over 2 years and just looked in prime shape and like amazing shape and an amazing form. Like he hasn't really missed a beat. And I'm honestly really, really happy that Usman is back in the win column. It's just the sport's better when Kamaru Usman is in the mix. We said that he was going to be the last piece of the old guard to either stay in the top of the rankings or fall behind, just like Covington, Edwards, Burns. But nah, Usman's still here. He holds on to his number 5 ranked spot, and he ends up outclassing Joaquin Buckley. Joaquin Buckley doesn't have any defensive wrestling in his style. He is mostly explosive and displays a lot on the feet, which we saw throughout the rounds. Kamaru Usman let it trickle down to like the 3-minute mark. Was trying to feel Joaquin Buckley out on the feet. Saw that was getting a little bit dangerous with Joaquin Buckley's combinations. So he immediately shot for the takedowns and was pretty much successful in all of his takedowns throughout the fight, except for the 5th round, which Joaquin Buckley then turned it up a notch with his defense and defended a lot of the takedowns. But Kamaru Usman, really, that was the right game plan. I'm not mad at it. That was the right game plan for Kamaru Usman to come back in a fight. There was a lot of adversity, a lot of pressure, a lot of outside criticism, and to come back and really just wrestle out of Joaquin Buckley to a decision win, to get back in the win column after 3 straight losses. And now Kamaru Usman could command a number 1 contenders fight. I do not think either he should get a title shot immediately. There's so many good fights for him to have. Belal Muhammad, of course, being one of the biggest names you could do probably. That's a sick matchup versus Belal. Or if Kamaru Usman did fight Shavkat, a fight that could have happened a long time ago. Yeah, really just amazing. I'm honestly really happy like Kamaru Usman got the win. I'm happy I was wrong. Kamaru Usman to bounce back like this is fire. To have Usman just back in the sport like this. Because if he lost, it would have probably just been time to retire for you, buddy. And Joaquin Buckley, he showed so much growth in the last couple of years, like when he made the weight change and decided to go at welterweight. So I hope he could bounce back from this. He's also really fun and just explosive, and I still think he could hang with some of the best in this division. I do not think he's going to plummet all the way back down. But Kamaru Usman really just turned back the clock and sent back one of the young and up-and-coming guys to hold his place. It just shows that Kamaru Usman's just different. It's true, the Nigerian Nightmare is back. He is back, and he's looking really good, despite all the talk that maybe his knees wouldn't held up, his cardio, this, that. His movements, Kamaru Usman, phenomenal. He seemed very emotional after the fight, rightfully so. He had Francis Ngannou walking him in to his fight at the weigh-ins, and Francis Ngannou was wearing some UFC gear. Is that alluding to something? Is the UFC finally looking to make maybe amends with Francis Ngannou? The sport needs it. If Francis Ngannou comes back, we don't even need John Jones. We don't even need John Jones. Like, I swear, we could just go Tom Aspinall and Francis Ngannou, and everything will be forgotten. But, yeah, really just great bounce-back win for Kamaru Usman. And like I said, what's next? Could be Belal Muhammad. Could be a Sean Brady. But I think Sean Brady's for sure fighting Ian Gary. So it could be either Shavkat or Belal Muhammad next for Kamaru Usman. The Belal fight has so much intrigue because they're both very high-level grappler wrestlers, and they have the beat from the podcast. Belal was already tweeting after the fight. This is cool, though. This is really cool to see Usman. I just couldn't believe it when he finally got in that octagon. I'm like, wow, Usman's back. I mean, after being the dominant champion he is, and just UFC is good right now. We have Volk and Kamaru Usman winning and getting back in the win columns in 2025. It's good right now to see the legends of the past get their wins, and I think Adesanya's next. I think Adesanya needs to get a win. It probably will be Strickland, but so Kamaru Usman, phenomenal. Joaquin Buckley, we'll see what happens with him next. Rose Namajunas versus Miranda Maverick actually was not a terrible fight. It was pretty entertaining. Rose Namajunas, though, edges out the win. Miranda Maverick did have some moments. I really thought she was going to submit Rosa Namajunas. She had a really strong hold around her neck. Her face was turning red at one point, Rose. But Rose Thug Nasty gets it done. Edmund Shabbazian versus Andre Petroski. Yeah, Edmund Shabbazian now on a little bit of a run. This guy used to be one of the biggest up-and-coming prospects in the division. Took a couple losses. Now he's on a little bit of a 2-fight win streak. It was a good, pretty clear win from him, who lit up Andre Petroski for most of the fight on the feet. Petroski, this sets him back again. He was on the 3-fight win streak. So I think it's back to fight nights for you, Andre. But and he's huge. I mean, look at this guy with his arms, crazy, Andre Petroski. But him and Shabbazian gets a solid win. Wow, this one sucked. I mean, to see that Cody Garbrand get the loss. I understand that Ronnie Barcelos really just like had him on the ground for the rest of that third round, but Cody Garbrand looked really good in those first 2 rounds. He had early moments on in the fight where he was pitter-pattering, giving us flashes of a vintage Cody Garbrand versus Ronnie Barcelos. But think about it. Cody Garbrand's now, I think, 3-7 in his last 10. So was he ever really that good? Like, at one point, we really thought he was one of the best bantamweights on the planet when he fought Dominic Cruz. He was a bantamweight champion. This guy is a former champion, but is he really on that level anymore? I don't know. Now you're losing to 39, 40-year-old Ronnie Barcelos. This guy, I think, is maybe even 43. Ronnie Barcelos really should not be where he's at, but he really is. He just beat a prospect in Payton Talbot. Now he just beat Cody Garbrand. So Cody Garbrand, I don't know if you stick around, continue to collect checks, make fun fights, or you just retire. I would have loved to see Cody Garbrand win in this. The crowd was loving Cody Garbrand, but couldn't get it done versus Ronnie Barcelos. And then Abdul Malik versus Cody Brundage. In the beginning of this fight, it was pretty close. Both guys were having some good exchanges. And yeah, Abdul Malik, they were having some back and forth, but then that third round hit, crazy, right from before the camera crew even cut in onto the fight. Abdul Malik and was already sprawling with Cody Brundage against the cage in the octagon. And then they started going barn burning, like exchanges, like haymakers left and right, just swinging, trying to wing it out. Because for the first 2 rounds, it was kind of boring. And I'm like, damn, this guy Abdul Malik, like, supposed to be some really good up-and-comer, and this is what he's giving us versus Cody Brundage. But then they started throwing this crazy haymakers back and forth. It was like a Max Holloway-Gaethje kind of moment in the beginning of this third round. Then they reset a little bit. Cody Brundage puts the head down. He's like, all right, let's get it. Let's get it for this last round. And then Abdul Malik closes in, and it looked like he kneed him in the liver, but really it was an accidental headbutt that got Cody Brundage on the ground and covering his head and in a position, in defenseless position where Abdul then seemed to close it out and get the finish. But then it was, I guess, a win by technical decision. But I guess it was an unintentional headbutt because it looked like a liver shot with his knee. So Abdul Malik stays undefeated versus Cody Brundage. And for Cody Brundage, So Abdul Malik picks up the win, still undefeated. And then Alonzo Medfield checks Omar Sy. Don't really know how to say it. French prospect, hands him his first loss. It was a really boring fight. Really boring. Nothing significant with this fight. Yeah. And then there was the no contest between Paul Craig and Rodolfo Bolato. So when I originally saw the clip, I actually believed it. I didn't see the part where, as Rodolfo Bolato was falling down, he was looking up at the ref. So I thought he actually got knocked out by this up kick, which is pretty crazy. But then I look back, I see the full clip with the full wide shot, and you see Rodolfo Bolato. It's clearly one of the biggest acting jobs we've ever seen in the UFC. I've never seen anything like this. Disgraceful activity by Rodolfo Bolato. I didn't even watch this fight, by the way. This is the type of fight card where I was only looking forward to the main card. But to see the highlights after, see the way that Rodolfo Bolato acted mid-falling, to act all confused that the referee put his hands up and then he fell down and then he acted like he was not, and then he pretended to wake back up and think that he was still in the fight and he's crawling and sprawling and he's insane. I think for that activity alone, you should be cut from the UFC. Like, what is that? You're making like a mockery. It's just pathetic the way that Rodolfo Bolato acted. It clearly was acting, and yeah, Paul Craig can't catch a break, man. This guy's on the brink of being cut. This fight was already canceled and they rebooked it, and he's just trying to get a win to stay inside the UFC, and this is what happens, a no contest with an illegal up kick. That should have been just like a point off, but instead Rodolfo Bolato does a whole acting act Well, I just said acting act. Acting, and yeah, so dumb fight, really weird fight. Michael Chiesa is still getting wins in the UFC in 2025. This guy is the ultimate veteran. I mean, what? Did he win his, like, he's on a little bit of a win streak, I think. He's just continuing to take these fights. He's on a 3-fight four fight. No, he lost to Holland. So he's on a 3-fight win streak, though. Whatever. Michael Chiesa, I don't know why. Like, half commentating, half fighting, but cool win. This is the last thing I want to talk about because, I mean, sure, Jose Ocha got the KO and Ricky Simone. Phil Rowe also had a crazy fight, actually. This guy, huge welterweight, gets the win, but Malcolm Wellmaker. And I don't know why. It's all weird with this, but, dude, this was like the UFC throwing a piece of meat to a lion. Like, bro, this was the biggest layup, and he was one of the biggest favorites I think we've ever seen, and it clearly translated. Like, yeah, he just completely... It looked so bad, it almost looked as if the UFC said to Chris Motino, like, we're giving you a contract, go into the fight, and basically let him land a straight shot on you. It's like he almost... It looks so bad as if almost like Chris Motino was paid to basically stand in front of Wellmaker and get knocked out like that. That's how bad it was, but that was crazy. This was so obvious to be a layup to Malcolm Wellmaker to just style and do something like that to Chris Motino in this first round. One of the cleanest, just most powerful wind-up KOs you'll see. Straight on his head, knocks him out. Like, Chris Motino, I don't care if he's on a 5-fight win streak. He's coming in there into UFC against a stud like this guy. Malcolm Wellmaker is a stud. Now, the UFC's got to play him right. They should not rush him by any means. They should continue to just build him up. Bantamweight's so stacked right now. Just continue to give him these small but little step-ups. Because right now, I know the hype is so crazy with Malcolm Wellmaker, but they're giving him bums right now just to build him up. Let him style. Let him showcase. This was a big win in front of his home crowd of Georgia to showcase. It's a huge moment for him. It puts his name really on the map now after his first win drop, and then now he has 100K in bonuses in his first 2 fights in the UFC, both first-round KOs. The UFC's got to build on him right and not cut too quickly, but he definitely could be a star, Malcolm Wellmaker, for sure. So this was probably the highlight of the card, honestly. He made the most noise. The crowd was super loud for him in this fight. Chris Motino, yeah, steps in for one fight just to get fed to a guy like this and be put on the floor crumbling. So, crazy knockout by Malcolm Wellmaker. In the prelims, I'm so excited to see him fight next. He's already becoming a favorite of mine, and he's only 2 fights in. So, yeah, that's pretty much the summary for Atlanta. There were some really good finishes. And then at the top of the card, we have Usman is back in the mix. Statement win, statement comeback to just really just shut everyone up, prove everyone wrong that he's back in the mix. And Kamaru Usman looking to take on, like he said, he'll always be the boogeyman. So we'll see what happens next.